but guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave with us.
Okay, so hi guys, it's Miss Lollipop and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. So in today's video, I'm actually going to be showing you how to record The Sims 4 for free in 2020 with all of my settings. I'm going to be going ahead and showing off the software that I use, which is free, and you guys can go ahead and download it for yourselves. It will be linked in the description as well, so you guys can go ahead and get your hands on it. And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll get around to answering all of those as well. And if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to go ahead and stick around, it would be amazing if you could subscribe. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Right, okay, so we're going to be using OBS Studio. Now, this is the software that I've used to record my video for probably about a year to 2 years, so for a very, very long time. And honestly, it's probably one of the most reliable softwares that I've ever used, and I couldn't recommend it enough. But I have linked it down in the description. Now, depending on what system you're running on, you will have to download a different version. So you've got the Windows version, you've got the Mac version, or the Linux version. Obviously, mainly most people have Windows or Mac. So depending on what computer you've got, just go ahead and download the correct one. Go ahead and click on whatever one you want to download. And obviously, I'm personally running on Windows. So I just go ahead and click on this, and it will just link me straight down here, and it will just install it straight away. So you can go ahead and click on that. There we go. And then you can go ahead and click next. Obviously, I've already got a version running. So obviously, I can't install it because I've actually already got it installed. But just go ahead and click next on all those boxes, and just go ahead and install it like you normally would any other program. So you should either have an icon on your desktop, or you can go ahead and click the start button down here. And obviously, it's different for Mac. But yeah, you have to go ahead and watch like an install for Mac, because I'm just going to be showing you how to use the software, not necessarily how to install it. But you can also find it in here. So you can just go ahead and type in OBS, and it will load it up just here. So go ahead and load up OBS Studio. Okay, so after loading that up, you should go ahead and see the OBS Studio software, which kind of looks like this. Yours won't have any scenes down here. Now, mine obviously has, because I've already set up everything, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to get started with everything. These mean you can switch between your different scenes, so you can set these up to be custom made. So for example, I've got a recording standard, which just includes recording my game. I've got recording with a face cam. It includes my game, it includes my face cam, which is obviously my camera, and it also includes a border over the top of the face cam as well, which I'll go ahead and show you how to get all of that stuff sorted out. You're going to have basically nothing down here. So you can just go ahead and create a new scene, and you can literally call it whatever. You can call it recording, you can call it, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it recording, but you can literally name it like whatever you want. So just go ahead and select that, and it will make a recording scene over here. So as you can see, this is a recording scene. It should say you don't have any sources below, and you know, it should stick to this as well. So now that you've got your scene, let's go ahead and go into your settings and make sure that everything is set up to record your Sims 4 in the best quality that you could achieve. So go ahead and click on the settings box down here, and you should just load up into the general settings over here. Now, normally I don't actually have to change any of this. This actually stays exactly the same, so we can just skip past this. This is for streaming, which unless you're actually going to be streaming the content or streaming Sims 4, you won't have to worry about this either. For this, we're going to be looking at recording, not streaming, so just go ahead and skip past this one and click on output. Now, it may already have the selection of simple up here, so if you can see the output mode, it could say simple. Just go ahead and change it to advanced like this. Just swap it to advanced, and it has different tabs for streaming, recording, the audio, and a replay buffer as well. So go ahead and click on the recording tab, and these are all the settings that I have set up for my Sims game, so recording my Sims 4. Now, depending on your computer, you will have to adjust these settings slightly, but I'll go through all of them, you know, just to go through them. So on the type, you want to go ahead and click standard. On your recording path, you can go ahead and change this. So this is actually where the recording is going to go to. I have all my recordings set up to go to a specific drive. It is better if you can put them on like an external hard drive or an external SSD if you've got the ability to do that. It's best to not record to a drive that you're either playing the game on or that you've got your Windows running on. So it's best to record to a completely separate drive, and if you can, a solid state drive would be best. But if you haven't got the option, that's fine. Just go ahead and put it in a folder that you would know where to get it from. So just put it in your documents, I don't know, put it in your videos, put it in somewhere where you think you'd be able to find it. Just bear in mind, recording takes up a lot of space. Like, you can have gigabytes and gigabytes of recording just because the file sizes are quite big. So just give yourself enough room. Now it should say generate file name without spaces. Just click off that. We don't really need that either. Now the recording format, I always record in MP4, which I suggest you do as well. MP4 is probably the best best one to record in. The file sizes are quite small as well in comparison to a lot of the others, so just go ahead and select MP4. Now in terms of your audio track, I always select 2. That basically means I want to separate my game audio from my microphone audio. Sometimes I have my game sound up too high and I want to be able to turn it down in editing, and sometimes my microphone might be a little too low and I want to turn that up in editing. So putting each one on a different track will mean that my game sound will be on track 1, so like as you can see, like, can you see here, like 1 track here, and then my microphone will be on track 2. When I put this into my editing software, it's 2 different tracks that I can edit them separately. Now the encoder, this is the bit when it's very, very important. This is probably one of the most important bits about the recording. So depending on which one you select will also depend on what computer you've got. Now I have a NVIDIA graphics card in my computer. Now you might not necessarily have that, so I have the option to select NVIDIA NVENC H.264 new. Now, if you've got that option, I really suggest you go ahead and select that. Your graphics card is normally a lot faster than your processor, and also your processor is running a lot of other processes in the background. Every other processor running on your computer is normally running on your processor, and you know, the game also runs on your graphics card as well. Now your graphics card is very, very powerful and normally has a lot more like capabilities to run, even when it's playing the game. So the reason why it's good to select the encoder as your graphics card is because it runs a lot faster. Normally videos that are recorded on like NVIDIA NVENC are normally a lot smoother, and you don't normally find that you will skip frames when you're recording, or you know, you won't find it to be really laggy. But you might not necessarily have this option if you don't have an NVIDIA graphics card. Now if you don't have an NVIDIA graphics card, you may also have an AMD graphics card. I believe you've also got an AMD option here as well. If you've got that option, also go ahead and select that. It will depend on obviously what computer you've got. Now if you don't see either of those and you only see the X64, you will have to go ahead and select this one. This is your processor. The reason that you probably don't see either the AMD version or the NVIDIA version is because you don't have a dedicated graphics card, either NVIDIA graphics card or an AMD graphics card. So you will have to record on the processor. We're going to move on to the rate control. So you've got a few different options in here. You've got constant bit rate, you've got variable bit rate, you've got lossless, and you've got CQP, which I don't know what that one is because I've never used it before, so don't bother with that one. The one that I always use is CBR. Now CBR is a good one. It basically keeps your bitrate constant, so it basically holds the quality at one select quality. Variable bitrate will basically mean that it can swap between one quality to another. So if we go ahead and select on variable bitrate, it will mean that you have a bitrate that is set that it will aim to achieve, but it could also reach the maximum bitrate as well. And then for lossless, this is basically trying to record your monitor in the exact way that it's been outputted. Now don't get me wrong, it sounds great, but lossless is normally very, very taxing on a computer and most people can't run it. So I wouldn't really recommend going for lossless. To be honest, I use constant bitrate and I use 25,000 kilobytes per second. Now this is normally quite high, but the reason is because I've got a very good computer that can normally handle it. Now depending on what computer you've got, you may have to gradually turn this down. I'd probably recommend it starting off at maybe 20,000 and then gradually increasing it or decreasing it depending on how the video runs. So what you should probably do is maybe set it to 20,000 now, go and test out a recording, watch that recording back and see if there's any issues, like any stutters or anything like that. If it is stuttering, just go ahead and turn this bitrate down. You'll need to go down until it stops stuttering, because that means that your computer is struggling to record and play the game at the same time, if that makes sense. I link all of my computer specifications in the description, so if you want to know what computer I'm running on, or you want to, you know, replicate it or have it just for reference, you can go ahead and check in the description. But this is the bitrate that I run on. But as I said, if your computer cannot run at this, or if you change your bitrate to this and you watch the video back and the video is really like laggy and stuttery, you will need to gradually turn this down and keep trying out recording videos until you get like a good bit rate for your computer, because if your computer's not the same as mine, it's not always gonna, you know, run the same, if that makes sense. So for keyframe interval, don't change this. So in the preset setting, I have mine set to quality. You can change this between max quality and performance. Max quality, obviously the video will look slightly better, but I normally find that my game doesn't run the best, like the actual quality for me to run the game isn't as good. Normally I drop a few frames, so you know, it gets a bit laggier and a bit more stuttery on my screen, so I don't select this one. If your computer is struggling to record and play the game at the same time, you might want to go ahead and go down and select quality, or select maybe max performance. This will take quite a big chunk on your quality though, so just bear in mind that your video won't look as good if you select anything, you know, below quality. You know, it will gradually start looking worse and worse, but depending on what computer you've got, you may need to do that to, you know, to handle recording and doing it at the same time. So select the preset depending on your computer. As I say, go and run some tests on your own computer and start doing recordings with different bit rates and different presets, and you'll kind of figure it out for yourself. But just a good starting rate is probably just select quality, and for your constant bitrate I would select 20,000 and just go from there. If you need to go down, you can go down. Now the profile, I have that set to high. I don't have look ahead set. I have psycho visual tuning selected. I have my GPU set to 0, and I have my max B frames set to 2. So I would just go ahead and copy all of this basically at the bottom. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the audio tab. So for your audio tab, normally everything in here I believe is set to about 160. Now I changed all of my audios to 320. So just go through and select every track up until track 6 to 320. The point is why wouldn't you want your audio to be as best quality as you could get it? So just the higher the number, basically the better the quality. And that also works for the same as the bitrate as well. As I was saying with the bitrate, you may need to go up or down depending on your computer. You could necessarily go above what I've got. You know, if you've got a better computer than what I've got, you could go above 25,000. Increasing the kilobytes per second of the bitrate, so increasing this number, will result in quality going up, and obviously decreasing it will result in quality going down. But quality going down will also be, you know, less taxing on the computer as well. But yeah, for audio, just select all of these at 320 bitrate. There's no reason not to, so just go ahead and do that. And for your replay buffer, just leave that off. Now, moving on to your audio tab, I have my sample rate set to 48 kilohertz. I suggest you do that as well. Again, the higher number, the better the quality. Who doesn't want better quality? For your channels, go ahead and select stereo. Now, for your devices, for your audio, if you've gone ahead on the output on your recording, if you've selected audio track 1 and audio track 2, this is quite important here. So on your devices, you need to go ahead and select your desktop audio. So depending on what you use, you might have a set of speakers, you might be using the monitor, whatever you've got, you could always select it as default, and it will automatically use whatever you've got selected as your default on your computer. So if we go down here, currently mine's set to my headphones because I've got my headphones on. Just go ahead and select whatever default audio that you use. Mainly it'll be a set of headphones. Obviously if you use speakers, I would recommend turning them right the way down when you're recording, because a lot of the time when you're recording on a speaker, you might actually hear that twice through the microphone. So you might be talking, they might hear the game sound that's coming out of your speakers, but then also hearing the game sound that comes out of your speakers into your microphone through your microphone. Does that make sense? Like they'll hear it basically twice and it might be delayed. So I definitely recommend when you're recording using a set of headphones. Now for your desktop audio 2, just go ahead and select that as disabled. There's no reason to have a second desktop audio, you just need one. Now for your mic or auxiliary audio, go ahead and select your microphone. I've got microphone Scarlett Solo USB. This is the microphone that I've got plugged in. Depending on what microphone you've got, obviously it will change the name of it. So if you've got like a Blue Snowball, it will say Blue Snowball in brackets here. If you've got a Blue Yeti, it will say Blue Yeti. Just depends on what sort of microphone you guys have got plugged in, but just select whatever microphone you've got. And again, for all the rest of the audio channels, so audio 2, audio 3 and audio 4, make sure those are set as disabled, and then that way you'll have 2 audio channels. And everything down here, I literally just left the same. There was no need to change any of this. This is like push to mute and stuff like that. You can change any of this stuff if you want to, but there's literally no reason for me to change any of this. So unless you want to change any of that, just go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our videos tab. So this is quite important because it will depend on what monitor you've got. As I said, a lot of this stuff as we're going through will depend on what computer you've got or what specs you've got or whatever you've got. So for this section, this is the quality that I run in. Now, if you go ahead and select this drop down box, you can see 1920 by 1080, 2560 by 1440 and 1280 by 720. So this is 720p, this is 1080p and this is 1440p. Now, YouTube technically from now on classifies 1080p and 1440p as HD. So most of the time you'll already have a 1080p monitor, so just go ahead and select this option because you want your base canvas resolution to be the resolution that your monitor is at. So whatever you know resolution monitor you've got, normally this will automatically be selected, but if it's not, go ahead and select 1080p. Now your outscaled resolution, this is if, say for example, you're recording like I am in a 1440p monitor, but you want to downscale the video to 1080p. If you're playing on a 1440p monitor, but maybe your computer can't handle recording at that rate, you might want to go ahead and select your output scaled, which is basically downscaling. If you want to go ahead and select the 1080p version, it will then downscale your video to 1080p. Now you obviously will lose quality, the video won't look as good as it looks on your monitor, but this is what most people record at on YouTube. If you've got a 1440p monitor and you can record at 1440p, that's what I do. I don't see why you shouldn't go ahead and select that. But if you can't do that, or even if you don't have 1440p, which I'm assuming most people don't, most people are running on a 1080p monitor. So if you've got that as your option, just go ahead and select 1080p as well. Now you may also have the same issue on a 1080p monitor. Say for example, your computer can't handle recording at 1080p. You might also need to record at 720p. But that is it for that. I record in bicubic. The best quality that you can record in is Lancazos. I don't even know what that says. You can go ahead and record in Lancazos. I don't. I normally record in bicubic. If your computer is struggling to record everything at the same time, as well as run the game, you can swap this down to bilinear. This is the fastest option. So if your computer is struggling to run it, bilinear might be the easiest, but personally I go for bicubic because basically it sits in the middle. For your FPS values, I actually record in 60 FPS. This makes my video look super smooth, and also most monitors can at least show 60 FPS. Now again, if your computer can't handle recording and playing the game at the same time, you may need to lower this to 30. Now for your hotkeys, I don't normally really set up any. As you can see, mine are basically gone. These are basically controls so that you can quickly record and stop recording. Now the only thing that I normally have set up, which I've had to turn off because I'm recording on a different like system or whatever, I go ahead and set up my start recording to be F9 and stop recording to be F9 as well. So you can just hit F9, the video will start, and then to stop it, you can hit F9 and it will stop recording as well. So you can just go ahead and select that. You can select whatever key you want. So say for example, you want the F1 key to do that and the F1 key to not. You can just go ahead and select F1 and it will go ahead and do that. Now in your advanced settings, if you go ahead and select the next tab, we've got the general. For the process priority, I normally put it as high or above normal. I'd recommend putting it to either one of these two. For my renderer, I use Direct 3D 11. For my color format, I use MB12, which again I would recommend because this is what monitors view your color format at. Your color space, I have it set to 709. Point is, why would you not set your color space to be the highest it could possibly be when there's barely any hit on performance? So just go ahead and select 709, and your color range, I would also suggest selecting full as well. As I said, it's exactly the same with the last one. Why would you select partial when it doesn't really cost a lot to select full? And everything else I don't actually play around with. I leave all of this stuff. There's no point in me looking at any of this stuff, and that is basically all of our settings covered. Now I'm sorry if I waffled through that, but I just wanted to make sure you guys understood each setting and what it does and how it would depend on your computer, because I know that I'm going to get a lot of people in the comment section tell me, oh, you know, I've tried your settings and it runs terribly on my computer, or I've tried them and it looks bad, or, you know, I done this and I done that. Or the thing is, everybody's computer is different. You know, your computer may not be able to do this, or your computer may be able to do more than what mine can. We're going to go ahead and get into actually now how you record the game. So now you should have your desktop audio down here, and you should have your microphone. Now your microphone should be going up. That's an indication of how you know if it's picking up any sort of audio. So if you're picking up audio, this, you know, should gradually be going up. You want to kind of keep this below hitting right at the very end of the red. You'll see if it goes all the way down there. That means that your gain is a little bit too high. So either move your microphone away or turn the gain down on your microphone. So your sources, right now you've got a blank screen, you can't see anything. If you go ahead and record, all they're going to see is a black screen, which is not going to be very useful to upload to YouTube because no one's going to want to watch that. So we're going to go ahead and select our sources. Go ahead and click on this little add button just here, and it gives you a bunch of different sources that you can select. Now if you want to go ahead and record your game, you can just go ahead and select your game capture. Now you can name this whatever you like. You can call it game capture, or you can call it Sims. And it will now go ahead and open this up and say properties for Sims. So the options are capture any specific application in your mode, capture a specific window, or capture foreground window with hotkey. Now you could go ahead and select your capture any full screen window, or you could go ahead and select capture specific window. Now when you do this, you can go ahead and scroll through, and as you can see, there is no option for The Sims 4. This won't actually show up until you load the game up. So when you load the game up, this will show down here. But for the moment, I normally just use capture any full screen application, because as soon as The Sims 4 loads up, it automatically picks it up anyways, and it will use that. There you go. So now that you've gone ahead and select OK, you can see in your sources, you've now got Sims down here. So now this will make it, if you go ahead and load up your Sims, it should automatically start capturing this. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and load up our Sims and double check that it's actually picking up Sims as a source. So we'll go ahead and load up Origin, and we'll just go ahead and load up the game and make sure that it definitely sees the Sims. Okay, so I've gone ahead and loaded up the Sims, and I've just alt-tabbed out. So as you can see, I've still got the window process running here. But now you can see on your sources setting, you should also see your Sims on here. Now, if you're not, and if it's not actually capturing your Sims, even when you alt-tab out, it should automatically capture it. Obviously, right now, the game isn't doing anything, like no animations are running because you're not actually tabbed into the game. If it's not picking this up, you might want to go ahead and right click on this, select your properties, change this from capture any full screen application to capture specific window. And now in your window, you should be able to also see The Sims 4. So go ahead and select that. Click OK. Now again, it will be blank. You will need to go ahead and quickly load up your game. So just alt tab back into it. There we go. It should now pick it up again. So now you can see in my window capture here, this is literally what it's picking up here. So I can just go ahead and make this smaller, you know. This is what the video will look like afterwards. So if I recorded like this, if my, thing was like it up here, most of the screen would be black. So you just want to make sure that you fill the whole screen with your game, which normally it'll automatically have selected. Now, a few other things that you might want to do is maybe you want to record like a face cam or something. Let's go ahead and say that you're going to use a face cam. So let's go ahead and select video capture device. Now you can go ahead and create new and maybe call it like a webcam or like face cam. I think face cam is probably better. Now in here, as you can see, it's offering us a bunch of different devices. Now depending on obviously what webcam you've got plugged into your computer will depend on which one you want to select. Go ahead and select whatever webcam you've got. Obviously you will need to know the name of it. Just go ahead and look on the device and you'll probably see the name of it anyways. Here you can change all different types. You can change your resolution. You can leave it as whatever the default is, or you can set it up as custom stuff. So if you want to make it, a higher FPS or anything like that, I don't touch any of that stuff. There is no need. Your color space, again, I always suggest selecting it as 709 and also selecting your color range as full. There's no reason not to, so just go ahead and do it. Why wouldn't you want the maximum color range? Why wouldn't you want it to look all pretty and colorful over looking dull and only having partial colors when it barely does anything? So just go ahead and select that. There we go. So now you've got your face cam, and just to bear in mind, if you can't actually see your face cam, like maybe you've got it all set up and you're thinking that you can't see it, it may be because in the sources it's actually under Sims. So with your sources down here, if you can see, if I go ahead and make this a bit bigger, your sources basically work in layers. So your Sims right now is a big screen, and the screen is currently on top. So it's your very first layer. Now, right now your face cam is there, but it's actually under this screen. So you will need to go ahead and just pop it on top and just slide it straight up to make sure that your face cam's on top. Now, the same thing with any sort of images. If you want an image like a border over the top of your camera, you will need to go ahead and put that image on top of the face cam. Otherwise, it's going to be hidden underneath the face cam and you won't be able to see it. So I just got to the end of my video and I just realized I never showed you guys actually how to start your recording and finish it. So you go ahead and click on the little start recording button just over here that I'm letting you guys know. When you click the start recording, it will turn and it will look like grey, so you know that you've started recording. And then if you just want to go ahead and stop the recording, you can click the stop recording button, which is the exact same button, and the video will save to the output file that we were talking about in the settings earlier. So wherever you told it to save the video, you can go ahead and find it in there. But I just realized for some reason I just got so wrapped up in all the settings and telling you guys how to do it that I never even told you guys like the basic of like how you start the recording and end it. So yeah, I thought I should also include that bit, but my bad. That is it. Yeah, I think I've covered everything and I've shown you guys everything you need to know. But this was a very, very requested video on how I record my videos, and I normally have to leave a comment to like everyone that asks, so I just thought it'd be easier if I could just link you guys to a video and just show you all my settings and show you how I do all this stuff in the background of what you guys see. If you guys enjoyed, it would be amazing if you could go ahead and subscribe and ding that little notification bell next to that to go ahead and get notified every single time I upload. And also if you go ahead and leave a like, it would be greatly appreciated, and share it with your friends. And I will speak to you all in my next video, as long as you're subscribed and you watch the next series video that comes out. So I'll speak to you guys all tomorrow, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. Bye everyone.
But guess